Hi everyone, and welcome to the second week of Junior Cert, our Junior Cycle Higher Level live lessons. So today we're starting Algebra 1, and within Algebra 1 we're going to be looking at expressions, simplifying expressions and factorizing. Quadratic equations will be thrown in there as well. So I'm going to start with very basic expressions, and you'll remember this from the ordinary level Junior Cycle. So the first example I'm going to give there is if you are told that different variables have different values. So I'm going to start with example 1, and you are told to find the value. So to find the value of 2x minus 5 if A, x is 4, and B, x is minus 3. So you have to find the values of both of those, and you're told what x is in each case. So for A, you're told that x is 4. So we're going to write out the equation that you've been given. So it's 2x minus 5. Now when you're given something like that, you're going to slot in anywhere you see x, you're going to put in 4 because you've been told that x is 4. So in that case, it's going to be 2 by 4 minus 5. So in that case, 2 by 4 is 8. 8 take 5 is 3. So that's the answer to part A. For part B, you're told that x is minus 3. So you're going to do the same thing again. You're going to write out your equation. So 2x minus 5. Anywhere you see x, you're going to put in, this time you're going to put in minus 3. So it's going to be 2 by 3 minus 5. 2 by 3 is 6. 6 take away 5 is 1. So that's your answer there for example 1, which is pretty straightforward. So as I was saying, that example just shows where you're given the value of the variable, where the variable is the letter. So the second example now is a distribution example, so I'll explain that as I go along. So if you're given a question and it'll say simplify, so simplify the following. So simplify, I'm going to give two examples here. So the first one will be 2 bracket x plus 4. And the second example is going to be 3 bracket 4a minus 3, and you're asked to simplify that. So I'm going to start with the first one there. So 2 bracket x plus 4. Now the way you solve this is going to be 2 by x and then 2 by 4. So 2 by x is going to be 2x, and it's going to be plus, we're going to put a plus here because there's a plus here. So 2x plus, and then you're multiplying 2 by 4, and that'll give you 8. And that's it simplified. It's as simple as that. Do the second one now. So 3 bracket 4a minus 3, and again it's going to be 3 by that and 3 by that. So 3 by 4a is going to give you 12a minus, and again I'm putting a minus here because there's a minus here. 3 by 3 is going to give you 9. And that's it simplified. The third type of expression I'm going to go through is addition. So it's where you group like terms together. So the example I'm going to give, and the question is to simplify. So simplify. And you are given 4x minus 2y plus 3x minus 5y plus 3. Now in this case, you're going to group the like terms together. So you've got x, you've got y, and then you've got numbers on its own. So we'll group the x's together first. So we're going to group 4x plus 3x, so they're grouped. We're going to put the y's together, so minus 2y minus 5y, so they're dealt with, and then you're just going to bring 3 down. So now you can deal with these together, and then that on its own. So 4x plus 3x gives you 7x, minus 2y minus 5y gives you minus 7y, and then you've 3. And that's it simplified. So the key here is to group like terms together, and I'm just going to put that in. So group the like terms together. Okay, we're on to the second subtopic. So we're on to linear equations. Now when you see linear equations, think equals. You'll see an equals sign. And with linear equations, there's always kind of two main rules that you follow. So the first rule is to isolate one variable. So to isolate one variable. And the second thing is to apply the same rule to both sides. Now again, I'm going to give a couple of examples here to just, I suppose, demonstrate that, so apply same rule to both sides. Okay, so example 1 on this section. So the question is to solve for x. Okay, and the first one is going to be 2x is equal to 12. And the second one is going to be 60 is equal to 20x. Okay, so we want to get x on its own. We have 2x. We want to get x on its own. So in order to do that, we must divide it by 2. And if we're dividing it by 2 on this side, we need to divide it by 2 on this side. So I'm just going to rewrite it over here. So 2x is equal to 12. So we're going to divide by 2 on both sides. So 2x over 2 is equal to 12 over 2. And then what we're going to get is, so 2x divided by 2 is x, and 12 divided by 2 is 6. And that's your answer. The second one then, so 60 is equal to 20x. And again, I want to get x on its own. How do I get x on its own? I divide it by 20. So I'm going to do the same rule to both sides. So I'm dividing both sides by 20. So I'm dividing both sides by 20. So it's going to be 60 over 20 is equal to 20x over 20. So 60 divided by 20 is 3. And 20x divided by 20 is x. So the answer there is x is equal to 3. The other type of linear equation is where we have some addition and subtraction on both sides as well. So I'm going to give example 2 here. And in this case, you're going to be asked to solve for x again. So the first example I'm going to give there is 2x plus 3 is equal to 11. And the second example I'm going to give is going to be 5x minus 4 is equal to minus 14. Now remember, we're going to do the same rule here. We need to isolate one variable and we must apply the same rule to both sides. So we want to get x on its own, so 2x is attached to it, so we want to isolate that on its own. Now we want to get rid of the 3, so if we have plus 3 we want to get rid of it. So the way we do that is we take away 3. Now if we're taking away 3 on this side, we must take away 3 on this side. So it's going to become 2x plus 3 minus 3 is equal to 11 minus 3, because remember we're doing the same to both sides. So 3 take away 3 is 0, so you're going to get 2x is equal to 11 minus 3, which will give you 8. So x is going to be 8 divided by 2, so therefore x is 4. So that's the answer to the first one. Now the second one, so we're going to write down 5x minus 4 is equal to minus 14. Now here, we want to get rid of minus 4. We want to make it a 0, so we want to get rid of minus 4. So the only way we can do that is to add 4. So if we add 4 to this side, we must add 4 to this side. So it's going to be 5x minus 4 plus 4 is equal to minus 14 plus 4. So that's going to become, so minus 4 plus 4 gives you 0. So 5x is equal to, so minus 14 plus 4 gives you minus 10. So then, again, we need to get rid of the 5 here. So how do we get rid of the 5 here? Well, 5x divided by 5 would give you x. So if we're dividing by 5 on this side, we divide by 5 on this side. So it's going to be 5x over 5 is equal to minus 10 over 5. So that's going to give you, so 5 divided by 5 is 1, so x is equal to minus 10 divided by 5 gives you a negative number, minus 2. And that's the answer to that one. So we're on to the third component now of this week's lesson, so factorizing. And the first type of equation we're going to look at here is highest common factor, so HCF, and you'll have seen this before. So again, I'm going to give an example here. So the question is to factorize fully. It's going to be 3x plus 21. Now, the way we do this is we're going to find the highest common factor of 3x and 21. So there's no letter that goes into both of them. There's no letter. But is there a number that goes into 3x and 21? There is. So 3 will go into 3x and 3 will also go into 21. So at this point, I'm going to pull out the highest common factor. So pull out 3. What multiplied by 3 will give me 3x, so it's going to be x. So I'm going to put that in there. Plus, what multiplied by 3 will give me 21? The answer is 7. And that's it, fully factorised. going to give a harder example of that now. So example 2, and again the question is to factorise fully. And this time it's 5x squared minus 20x. So for that one, again, we need to do the same thing. Pull out what's common. What number is common to both 5 and 20? What number goes into 5 and 20? So the answer is 5. So deal with the numbers first. So it's going to be 5. Now let's have a look and see, is there any letter that will go into both? And we have an x that's common to both. So we can put x out here as well. Now the next step is, what multiplied by 5x gives me 5x squared? And the answer is x. I'm going to put a minus here because there's a minus here. What multiplied by 5x gives me 20x? And the answer is 4. And that's it factorised. And there's a way of checking if you're right as well. Multiply it out. 5 by 5x gives you 5x squared. Minus 5 by minus 4 gives you minus 20x. So that shows you there. That's the same as that, so you're right. The next example is factorising by grouping. This is going to be example 3, and I'm going to put in brackets here. So the second example was HCF as well, highest common factor. So this is going to be factorising by grouping. And I'm going to give an example to show this as well. So again, the question will be phrased, so factorise fully. And this is where you've got to group the like terms together. So AB minus 3B plus AC minus 3C. So in this case, you need to pull out what's common. You're going to group factors together and you're going to pull out what's common. So I'm going to group these together and I'm going to group these together. Now, what's common to AB and minus 3B? So there's only one letter that's common, it's going to be B. So I'm going to pull out B. What multiplied by B gives me AB, so the answer is A, minus what multiplied by B gives me 3B, so the answer is 3. So that's that bit done. Now we're going to look at this. What's common to AC and minus 3C? So the letter C is common. So I'm going to pull out C. Now the idea here is you want to get the same in these brackets as you have here. So what multiplied by C gives you AC? The answer is A. Minus what multiplied by C gives you minus 3C? It's going to be minus 3. And if you have the same answer in both sets of brackets here, you know you're right. The last part then is to put them into brackets. So in the first set of brackets, it's going to be B plus C multiplied by A minus 3. And that's it fully factorised. I'm going to give another example of that just to be on the safe side. So I'll give example 4. And again, factorise fully. And I'm going to give AC plus BC plus 3A plus 3B. So same idea, you're going to group pairs of factors together. So we're going to group these together and these together. So what's common to AC and BC? It's the letter C. What multiplied by C gives you AC, so it's going to be A. What multiplied by C gives you BC, it's going to be B. Plus, now what's common to both 3A and 3B, so that's the number 3. And remember the same idea here is you want to get the same letters in both sets of brackets. 3 multiplied by A gives you 3A, 3 multiplied by B gives you 3B. So we have them right. And then your final step is to open up two sets of brackets. It's going to be C plus 3 in one set and A plus B in the other. And that's it done. The next example we have is the difference of two squares. So example 5. And again, you'll be asked to factorise fully. I'm going to put in brackets here, difference of two squares. So difference of two squares. So that means one squared number minus another squared number. So I'm going to give an example here. It's going to be y squared minus 81. And you're asked to factorise that. Now, here you can rewrite this as, so that's y squared take away. Can we rewrite 81 as something squared? Yes, we can. We can rewrite it as 9 squared. So I'm going to rewrite that. Y squared take away 9 squared. And now you have it in the correct format. You have something squared take away something squared. So what we do then is we're opening up two sets of brackets, and we're going to put y in the first and y in the second, and we're going to put 9 in the first and 9 in the second. And the rule is plus with one, minus with the other. And that's your answer. So it's pretty simple. I'm going to give another example of that just to be sure. So example 6. And you're asked to factorise fully. So x squared minus 100. Now again, you should recognise that that's something squared minus, you could rewrite that as something squared. So 10 squared is 100. So I'm going to rewrite that. So it's going to be x squared minus 10 squared. So you open up two sets of brackets, x in the first, x in the second, 10 in the first, 10 in the second, plus with one, minus with the other. And that's it. So we have one more type to go through with factorising. I'll do that on the next slide. Okay, so we're on to quadratic trinomials now. So we're on to example 7. Now, again, you'll be asked to factorise. So to factorise fully. And I'm going to give an example. So x squared, take 6x minus 8. Now, you will notice that that's in the format ax squared plus bx plus c. So what that means is you've got a squared term, you have an x attached to a number, and then you have a constant, which is c. Okay, so if you see it in this format, you're going to apply the following method. So I'm just going to rewrite it here. So x squared, take 6x minus 8. Now, the way I do this, I circle the constant. Okay, so the constant is the number. And I'm going to write out all the factors, or the pairs of factors, to give me the constant. So what can I multiply to give me 8? So 2 by 4, 8 by 1. So they're the only two there that will work. Now, what we have to do next is you have to pick one of these sets of factors that will either add or subtract to give you the middle number. Now, you need to be careful here is what sign is in front of the middle number. It's minus. So you need two pairs of factors that will either add or subtract to give you minus 6. So which ones will work here? So 8 and 1 aren't going to work, because if you add 8 and 1, you get 9. If you take 1 from 8, you get 7. So none of those combinations will give you 6. Now, if you have 2 and 4, that's going to give you 6. So I'm just going to write down a 2 and a 4. You need to make sure that your signs are correct. You need a minus 6. So if I put a minus in front of both of those, they'll give you minus 6. So we know that that works. So the rule then is we're going to open up two sets of brackets. And because you have x squared here, you're going to put x in the first and x in the second. Now the first number is minus 2, so I'm going to put that in here. So x minus 2. And then the second number I'm going to put in here is x minus 4. And that's it factorised. So I'm going to give another example of that just to make sure we're able to do them. So example 8. And again, factorise fully. So this time it's going to be a squared minus 6a minus 7. Same rule again. We're going to circle the constant. We need factors of 7. This is only two pairs are going to work here. One pair, two numbers. 7 by 1. Now look at the middle number. You need a minus 6. Okay, so you need a minus 6. So you have a 7 and you have a 1. So you need to decide what signs are going to go in front of them. If you have a minus 7 and you add 1, you'll get minus 6. So they'll work. So you're going to open up two sets of brackets. A in the first, A in the second. Our first number was minus 7, so I'm going to put that in the first bracket. And our second number was plus 1, and I'm going to put that in the second bracket. And that's it factorised. Okay, I'm going to give another example of them because we need to make sure we're able to do these, especially before we move on to the more difficult ones. So again, factorise fully. So factorise fully, and it's going to be x squared minus x minus 6. Now be careful here, when you see an x written like this, you'd assume that that's minus 1x. So I always put a 1 in just to remind yourself. The same idea, circle the constant. What are the factors of 6? So 6 by 1 and 2 by 3. Now you need to pick a pair of factors. So whichever pair will either add or subtract to give you 1. So 3 and 2 will work, 6 and 1 aren't going to work. So you have a 3 and you have a 2. And remember, it needs to give you minus 1 because there's a minus in front of it. So what signs do we need to put in front of 3 and 2 to give you a minus 1? So if you had minus 3 and you added 2, that would give you minus 1. So open up your brackets. We're going to put x in the first, x in the second, and we've chosen to go with minus 3 and plus 2. And that's it factorised. We're going to give one more example of these. So example 10. So again, factorise fully. So factorise fully, it's going to be x squared plus, it's minus 11x. So x squared minus 11x plus 30. Okay, same idea. We're going to circle the constant, which is 30. Write out all the factors. So 30 by 1, 10 by 3, 5 by 6. So which one of those will either add or subtract to give you the middle number? Now the middle number is minus 11. Okay, so you need a minus 11. So 5 and 6 are going to work. Now, what signs are we going to put in front of them? Well, it's minus 11, so minus 5, minus 6 will give you minus 11. Open up your brackets, put x in the first, x in the second, minus 5 and 1, minus 6 in the other. And that's the answer. Now, the next example I want to give is just a continuation on what I've just done previously. So it's a quadratic equation where you're told it's equal to 0. Okay, so an example of that. That's where you're actually asked to solve for x. So if it said to solve for x and you were given the quadratic equation, so x squared minus 14x is equal to, x squared minus 14x minus 15 equals 0. So you're going to solve this the same way. So you look for the constant, 15. So factors of 15, 5 by 3, 15 by 1, 2 by 7, and you want them to either add or subtract to give you the middle number, minus 14, okay? So you want them to give you minus 14. So what factors will add or subtract to give you minus 14? So 15 and 1 will work. So if you have minus 15 plus 1. So we're opening up our brackets, x in the first, x in the second, minus 15 and plus 1. Now this is the bit that's new. It's equal to 0, okay? So you're going to let that equal 0. So you need to solve for x. So the way we do this is both of our solutions. So you're going to write down x minus 15 equals 0 and x plus 1 equals 0. So you're going to solve. In order to solve, so on this side we want to get x on its own. Remember, we want to isolate one variable. So we want to isolate x. How are we going to get x on its own? So you have minus 15. So how do we get rid of the minus 15? You'd add 15 to get 0. So if we add 15 on this side, we're going to add 15 on this side. So it's going to be x minus 15 plus 15 is equal to 0 plus 15. That's going to give you 0. So x is equal to 0 plus 15, which is 15. That's one of your solutions. Now we need to do the other one. So we need to get 0 on this side. So x plus 1 equals 0. So how do you get rid of the 1? You take away 1. So if we're taking away 1 on this side, we take away 1 on this side. So it's going to be x plus 1 minus 1 is equal to 0 minus 1. Because we took away 1 on both sides. They cancel. So x is equal to 0 minus 1. 0 take away 1 is minus 1. And that's your second solution. So we'll be doing these again when we go to the second section of algebra. But I'm going to put up an exam question now to show you how to go through it. So I put up a question here from the 2017 higher level paper. And we should be able to answer these now after going through factorising. So the first one here, factorise n squared minus 11n plus 18. So I'm going to write that out. So n squared minus 11n plus 18. Now the rule is here, we circle the constant. The constant is 18, and we're going to write out all of the factors of the constant, or pairs of factors. So 6 by 3, 18 by 1, 9 by 2. So will any of these either add or subtract to give us the middle number? Now the middle number is minus 11, so we're going to write that out. So we need it to give us minus 11. So 9 and 2 will work, but what signs do we need to put in front of them? If we had a minus in front of both of them, that will give us minus 11. So open up your brackets. Be careful here. You have n squared, so you're going to put n in the first, n in the second, and you're going to put minus 9 in the first and minus 2 in the second. And the reason for that is because you had minus 9 here and minus 2 there. And that's the answer. Now the second one, this is a little bit trickier. This is groupings. So you're asked to factorise fully, so you have to group them. So do we have anything that's in common here? Now you might have to rearrange them, but we'll see. I'm going to try and group these together first and these together. So I'm going to rewrite it first of all. So wy minus 1 plus w. So I'm going to group these together and I'm going to group these together. So what's common here? So wy and minus y. So we can pull out y. So I'm going to pull out y there. What multiplied by y gives me wy? Well, that's w. Minus what multiplied by y gives me minus y. So it's going to be minus 1 is the answer there. Okay, so now we're on to this bit here. Now, to help us, I'm going to put a 1 in front of the w to help. So what's common here? Minus 1 and 1w. So minus 1 and 1w. So it's going to be 1, isn't it? So we're going to pull out 1 as common. So plus 1. Now, what multiplied by 1 gives me minus 1? The answer is minus 1. What multiplied by 1 gives me 1w? The answer is w. Now be careful here. Do you see that it's the same? W minus 1 is the same as saying minus 1 plus w. So I'm going to rewrite that. So y by w minus 1 plus 1 by w minus 1. And then the last thing we do is put them into their two sets of brackets. So it's going to be y plus 1 and w minus 1. And that's it, fully factorised. So that's a higher level question, so just take your time with them. So I pulled another higher level question there, and again it's to factorise fully. So we need to decide here what they're asking us. So it's 25x squared minus 49n squared. Okay, something squared minus something squared. Now can we rewrite 25 and 49? We can. So we could rewrite it as 5x, and we're going to square all of it, take away 7n, and we're going to square all of it. If you look at it there, if you square 5x, you get 25x squared. If you square 7n, you get 49n squared. So the rule is you're going to open up two sets of brackets. You're going to put 5x in the first, 5x in the second. You're going to put 7n in the first, 7n in the second. And the rule is plus with one, minus with the other. And that's it, done. Now this one here we haven't actually covered yet, so I'm going to do this next week. But I'm just going to put up another question just so we get practice. So I'm going to put up x squared minus 4x plus 4. So you're asked to factorise fully. So for that one, let's circle the constant. So 4, what are our factors of 4? So 2 by 2, 4 by 1. And which ones will either add or subtract to give me the middle number? Okay, so you need a minus 4. And 2 and 2 will work. Now what signs are we going to put in front of them? We've put minus in front of both of them, we'll get minus 4. So open up two sets of brackets. We're going to put x in the first, x in the second, minus 2 with one, minus 2 with the other. And that's it, fully factorised. So I hope that was helpful, guys. I will be moving on to Algebra 2 next week, which is moving into the more higher level content, which will be a little bit trickier, but it'll be fine. So I will speak to you next week. And another thing as well, make sure to check the chat in the comments, because I'm going to be putting links up to useful exam questions and some notes that you'll be able to access on the website as well.